Furiosa is in theaters right now, guys, and it is a good movie. This is my full review for Furiosa, so it'll be without spoilers. Maybe towards the end we'll get into it, but my initial impression of this is that it is awesome. And you'll know that when you go in and you see like the spectacle of like the scope of the visuals. The visuals sell you this. Anya Taylor-Joy as the Furiosa character does a great job. She picks up the mantle from Charlize Theron really well. But the real standout here is Chris Hemsworth as the villain, Dementis. We we've all heard that he was going to be playing the bad guy well, ever since it was started, right? And we're like, well, he plays Thor. Can he do the bad guy? Yes, he can do the bad guy, and he does this weird voice. He talks in a very nasally voice that you would think that, well, I don't know if I like that for the villain, but he does it in such a way where it's kind of like creepy, and it works. It fits the world of Mad Max, and I was just taken by him because the bulk of the first part of the movie is carried by him because it's a younger, much younger Furiosa that starts it off. So uh, there's some time periods there. It's told in chapters style. So like you'll see like number one, and he'll have like a little line there, like for the theme of this chapter kind of thing. And later on, then when Anya Taylor-Joy shows up, that will be several chapters in itself. So my main impression is that it's good. You should see it out on the big screen. It is got all the big sound. Don't worry about the visual effects. People were complaining about the visual effects in the first trailer, saying, "Well, it looks a little, I don't know, a little too CGI." Yeah, you can tell at times that they're using maybe perhaps volume technology, but you give it a pass because the story is so compelling. It sucks you in. It makes you go, "Oh, okay, I care about what's going on here. I want to see what's going on." And once you get into like the big action sequences, you're like, whatever. Um, I was a little bit uh, shocked that I was a little bit taken by the political side of things going on, like the different factions, because we know that Mortan Joe is in this, right? The villain of Fury Road. And Dementis is kind of like a rival faction, and there's like this jockeying for power that's going on within the wasteland, right? And Furiosa's just caught up in between all of that. And I liked that aspect of it. I thought that was very, very well done. The cast brings back some familiar faces from Fury Road, but uh, Tom Burke joins the cast here. Layla Brown, Angus Sampson. Who is that big guy that plays? Nathan Jones is back as Rictus Erectus. And then he's got a brother, Scrotus. The names are just, yeah, maybe a little too on the nose, but it's good overall, and it's a great theatrical experience. Yeah, I can't. There's really not much to say without spoiling too much, other than that, um, because if we get into some of the character developments, like Tom Burke here as Praetorian Jack, we see him here. Um, we see him here. There's a nice storyline with him in there. And you think, okay, is it going to be kind of like a romantic thing? Because we've seen them like holding heads or whatever. But he's kind of like a mentor role for Furiosa. And when I see him and I'm like, wow, he looks a lot like a younger version of Stacy Keach. Like he's got Stacy Keach written all over him. And that's cool. I like that. I like that they played into that with like a little bit of the scar on his face there is a little bit like Keach, right? Like I like when they do that and pay respects to other actors out there or like take inspiration, right? If you don't know who Stacy Keach is, he's like a legendary actor. But anyway, uh, getting back to Furiosa, those are my initial thoughts. It's a bit long uh, to start because we're jumping around time periods with Furiosa. I think we get three different versions of her, like a smaller girl version, and then a mid-range teen version, and then we get uh, Anya Taylor-Joy. And as we go throughout those time periods, it's like we see the evolution of Dementis as well, taking over parts of the wasteland and stuff like that. And some people will be like, just get to the Anya joy part, get to that part. And it's like, well, guys, just let it sit a bit. It takes a while to get into that part of the story, but I appreciated it because of what George Miller was doing by building this mythos behind the wasteland politics, so that when the battles actually start going down, you're like, okay, I understand what's going on here. I actually am intrigued by them using this as kind of like a ruse and stuff like this as a trap. There's some great scenes with Immortan Joe back at the Citadel where he rolls up for the first time and it's like, oh, aren't we just going to take things over? So, yeah, yeah. Really, you think you're going to just pull up on the Citadel like that? There's stuff like that that'll be like, okay, I'll give that all. If you thought it was boring, I'll give it a pass. But that's my initial thoughts of Furiosa. Let's go over to my score sheet, and then we'll go over to the Rotten Tomato meter and see what people are saying. My score sheet for Furiosa. Acting, directing, and story are out of a possible 2 points each. Cinematography and score are out of a possible 1 point each. Guys, I got to tell you straight up that the acting here, it's good. 1.5. Is there anything Academy Award winning in here? Not really. Like Hemsworth is having fun, and if I'm going to be honest, I think I may come back to acting and bump it up to 2. Nah, I am. I'm going to give acting a full 2 because of Chris Hemsworth. Uh, he just like there's a part where you see his plans falling apart and he just goes into rage mode and you see that transformation in him, and it's like, okay, he's more than just kind of like that kind of uh, funny bad guy. He's a little bit more serious, right? He means business. Because you've seen in the trailers, he does a lot of screaming and yelling, but then there's also some other dark malevolence to him. That's kind of like, okay, he does a really good job. Directing wise, I'm going to give 1.5 because all of the driving and like fight sequences are really well done. Story wise, I'm going to also give 1.5. I got to cut down some because, and I don't know if it'll change maybe on repeat viewings, but there is some pacing issues in there, I would say. There's a certain time in about like the hour and a half mark where if you need to go use the washroom, you should be fine and you're not going to miss any part of the story because they do a lot to do world building in this, right? So there is some issues in there for that. Cinematography is going to get a full point. Cinematography is going to get a full point because of just the striking visuals. You heard me say it right up off the bat. Uh, like even if you think that, oh well, those are just visual effects, or that's just a green screen shot, but you got to look at the context of what's like if you just freeze framed it and it's like, okay, no, that's rich. That's like a panel out of a comic book. Like you can tell where George Miller's getting his inspirations from, and it's an amazing experience on the big screen, guys. I can't champion that enough. So the score, the score is also good. The score you're going to notice right away when the opening starts up, and you hear that dun 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 like from Fury Road kind of thing, right? And you're like, oh, okay. Like I'm getting goosebumps about it right now. You're just like, I'm back. The score helps set the tone for it and makes you realize, okay, yes, I'm back in this. I'm back in this. I'm happy that we're here. I didn't think I would like this, or I was a little bit doubtful of it, but don't worry. Once you're there and you start to see the visuals and what he's trying to achieve with this, um, like the opening sequence, like it's heartbreaking, it's impactful, and then you realize, oh wait, yes, the other parts of the movie, we're going to get to Anya Taylor-Joy, we're going to get to Immortan Joe and the big road fighting sequences and chases and war. That part's still coming, and it's like, okay, no, this is a big theatrical summer blockbuster, and guys, uh, it's awesome. It's a great experience. I wish I could turn on the sound for this because like look at these shots. It's amazing. Witness me. Yeah, witness Furiosa. I can't champion that enough. Let's go over to the tomato meter and see what people are saying about Furiosa, a Mad Max saga. 89% by critics, 96 by the audience, and that's about expected. We knew that the critic score was around 87 at the beginning of the week, right? Uh, but now it's come up to 89%. It's certified fresh. 96 by the audience for the people who have seen it. Guys, it's just a fun time at the movies, and you'll be just intoxicated with what Chris Hemsworth is doing with this. So let's take a look at some of the snapshot reviews here from the audience. Awesome addition to the Mad Max universe. Here's to George Miller completing his saga with hopefully at least one more Mad Max adventure in this. I hope so too. I hope there's going to be another Mad Max film. Is there a cameo in here from Mad Max like Tom Hardy? No. Don't expect that. Is there a wink wink? Is that possibly Max there? Maybe. Sort of. Expect something like that for this. This is all about Furiosa, Dementis, and Immortan Joe. This is like you could tell that maybe perhaps it's alluding to where Max could be. That's what I would say. That's what I would tell people to expect. So what's the other person here who said this movie is incredible? This is a testament that female protagonists can deliver when it's organic to the story. Yes, it can. Yes, Hemsworth played the villain to perfection. Great. That's from a fan. And I want to just quickly touch on this because this will be a point of contention for some people because they'll be like, well, if it's just a female being the main character, then they're just trying to shoehorn, some kind of political agenda into this. And no, guys, even though that there's some politics going on in the realm of like the wasteland, it's not gender politics within our reality or anything like this. This has nothing to do with our society right now. Like there's analogies to it, of course, and there's like a critique on how people deal with power and stuff like that, and their lust and thirst for greed. There's like those, but those are classic tropes. Those are classic things that happen in almost every movie. So you can't get away from that. But like her being like a Mary Sue or anything like that, no, it's nothing like that. So don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. That's what I would say. Okay, let's go up and take a look at some of what the critics are saying because this is where I want to see the more apt criticisms. Not that the fans are wrong or anything, but I just want to make sure that we get some professional reviews here from Sean Chandler. George Miller continues to deliver thrilling adventures in the world of Mad Max. This time, the focus is on much more sprawling story and building out the world of the wasteland. So pretty much echoing what I said about the politics in the wasteland there. Leonard Maltin. I bought into Furiosa's eye-popping visuals 100%. Kudos to George Miller for delivering a prize package of entertainment well worth seeing on a big theater screen. Yeah, I saw it on AVX Sound with the big screen. I was like so tempted to go out to the IMAX, and I may even still go out to the IMAX. It's that good. This is one of the few movies where I'd be like, I have no problem going to see this movie again. Okay, I'm looking for somebody who didn't like it here, guys, and this is going to be a kind of a hard pressed here thing. Someone of repute. I don't see like I wanted to see if Variety or somebody didn't like it. Uh, so this person didn't like it. Rachel reviews. The biggest problem with Furiosa is how bloated and repetitive it becomes. Really repetitive. I wouldn't say that. And this is from female criticism. The movie Minute. I'm all for origin stories that make sense intellectually, and this one does. But shouldn't it make sense emotionally too? Well, did you not watch the opening act and what made Furiosa so bitter towards Dementis? That seems pretty emotional to me. So I'm going to discount this criticism right up off the bat. And that opening scene sets the tone for everything that's driving Furiosa throughout the rest of the movie. So that like what, did you not watch the movie? Were you going to get popcorn at that point? Did you arrive late to the movie? Michael Phillips from the Chicago Tribune. Even amid new depths of misery, Furiosa still delivers the clean, electrifying inches above asphalt camera perspectives that made the cinemascope shot Mad Max so arresting nearly 2 generations ago. Yeah, yep. So, Hollywood Toto, or whatever the heck that is. Bloated prequel doubles down on action, leaves us woozy and confused. Confused. Again, it's a tale of getting revenge and like uh, you know what do you mean confused? Like they make it very clear where the factions are. Like this is it's that reeks of people just not paying attention. Boston Globe. Perhaps I'm burned out by prequel itis, but Furiosa felt like Miller and his co-writer were playing a convoluted game of connect the dots to sync up with the plot of Fury. No, no, this is not driving towards the events of Fury Road, by the way. Okay, so let's address that. Like, if you want this to connect in just like Rogue One is to Fury Road, it has like like after the movie's done kind of thing, a connection to it. It does. Like you'll see, it must have been like uh, unused footage of like the girls getting onto the truck at the end, kind of thing. What in Fury Road, there's like that kind of thing, but it's not like a direct kind of like okay, we just got the Death Star plans like Rogue One. It's not like that. There's still room in this story where okay, if we want to learn more about Furiosa and her time with Immortan Joe, then perhaps we can explore that. There's still room for that, I would say. So you get the impression here. Most critics liked it. There's the odd few one here, but it's none of the big, huge trades that are saying that they disliked it. And as the fans came out and said that they really liked it, the scores overall, guys, um, look good. 89%, 96%, and are setting the stage here by saying that you should go out and see this movie and you'll have a fun time doing it. Okay, so let's go over and finish up my score and see where I sit. Watchability factor. If you liked Fury Road, then you'll want to check it out. It's worth seeing in the theater for sure. I would go out and see it again. I just said that I would on IMAX. I would, and in fact, I this may be one of the movies of the few that I do buy on 4K or Blu-ray. I'm going to own this one. 9 out of 10. Like it's that good, guys. Yes, Furiosa is that good. Like what was the last one that we gave this one big? Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. It's on that scope, and it sets the tone for the rest of the summer. That yes, without a doubt, the summer movies are here. 9 out of 10 for Furiosa, guys. Thumbs up. I want to watch it again. It's that good. Go and see it if you can. See it on the big IMAX or something. Let me know if it's really worth it, paying that extra cash, because I think it probably is. I think it probably is. All right. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below, and we will talk about it. Uh, there's really not much more to talk about, like in terms of spoilers. Like we can get into some nuance of like character decisions, but what do you think happens? Seriously, uh, Dementis and Immortan Joe are fighting each other, and she's caught up in between, and she's got real beefs with Dementis. So what do you think happens? What do you think Dementis kills her in the end? Well, obviously not if she shows up in Fury Road, right? Right. So there's not that much to spoil about it. Uh, Maybe I'll talk a little bit more after this, but if not, see you next time on Mirror Domains. Yeah, and I liked how they handled the end of Dementis. I really did, because it was one of those things where it's kind of like you choose how he died. You choose. Was she mean to him, or yeah? I like how it was a little. It was a, they were trying to paint it a little bit ambiguous. Of course, he's going to get his comeuppance. You want to see him get his comeuppance, right? And I like how they played into that. And there's a great speech that kind of like monologue that Chris Hemsworth has that we seen a little bit of it in the trailers when he like turns to her and says, uh, "Can you make it epic?" He's talking about her becoming like him, right? And it's like, if you do this, you're going to go down and become just like me. And she's like, no, I'm not. No, I'm not. Because what Dementis does throughout the entire movie uh, is much worse than what Furiosa could ever do. And I don't feel like that's really spoiling too much. I like the way that that was handled. Great movie, guys. Go see it in the theaters. All right. So let's move on to some other topics because I'm only going to be on for about another 30 minutes or so because I got to head out and go to work today.